Okay, so it's fair to say if you were owed 2 months worth of money at $1,800 a month on the high end, we're still at $3,600. So if you were owed money, it's probably not going to be $9,000.
And then you can see when he said, "I'll send a check for your expenses."
I just want to go home to my kids because like now I'm starting to be like,
well, unfortunately, you're not going to go home to your kids right now.
On August 7th, 2024, a woman walked into a Seacoast Bank in Florida holding a $9,000 check from a call center that had shut down 4 years earlier. The teller flagged it as fraud within seconds, and police were called. By the end of this analysis, you will know which Florida statute was triggered the moment she handed over that check, and why being a romance scam victim offered no legal shield.
And then one thing she told me was that all her check starts with a number 4. This one doesn't have a number 4.
The bank though?
The check number. The person from
construction?
Yeah.
So like the batch that they're on, I guess, right now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So she said that they get positive pay when that comes through in their system. So whoever, like if they were to go to, let's say, Chase, right, and negotiate it there, once it comes into their system, they got positive pay, so they're able to reject those checks because they could see that it's clear fraud. So she said that this is not the first time that she received a call because of fraud going on. So I feel bad, but we have to follow procedures. You know, they asked us to call you guys.
I feel bad if she's doing fraud. I mean,
like, you got people sometimes that, you know.
I mean, if a
like
check came to your house, would you just go to a random Seacoast and be like, hey, let me cash it? Like,
no. And it's funny, we got some, even us as employees, we get calls or texts or checks, and I'm like, that's fraud.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
So, but some people just, you know.
Okay,
City's on the way.
Oh, sign the
You have to sign the
bottom.
grape, yeah,
Is it right here?
You swear everything you wrote
Oh,
is
sorry.
true?
Yes.
Go ahead and sign right here.
She came in, she said that she worked for this company.
So she said she used to work for them during the pandemic.
Okay.
And then during the pandemic, they disappeared, right? And she received a check from them on the check dated the 10th. And she was like surprised because they disappeared.
Okay.
So I was like, that's interesting. You know, 4 years later, they send you a check randomly. Like I said, did they notify you? Did you call them? Like, she said she didn't. She's like, I was so busy doing other things. I didn't. So she's like, I just wanted you guys to look at it to make sure it's real so that I can cash it. Because I asked her what she's looking to do with it, right? And that's what she said. So as soon as I looked at it, I knew it was fake. And I didn't give her any information because I don't want her to know what it is exactly, where things need to be.
What we look for.
What we look for. So I just said, you know, we're going to go ahead and verify. But it just, her story wasn't, I was like, is this the amount that you were expecting?
Okay.
Did they owe you? And she's like, kinda. You know, I make roughly this a week. And she's like, I'm not really good with
How
that.
could you tell it was fake?
So
When it's good to you.
I know.
So to be honest, so this right here, right? It looks like
Watermarks.
a type, like you're typing it on a typewriter or something.
Signature.
This is not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be up here.
Okay.
Memo is not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be below here.
Okay.
Right?
And then just the font.
It's just, you see how it says date, the font, it's just really, I mean, you have date and then that's like a different font. Like it's just all over the place.
Okay.
And then the signature.
And if you was to see a check from that company, the signature like
Yeah.
right close.
Okay.
Nowhere near close.
And they have like a logo on the side and all that. So it's
So as soon as I saw the faded Seacoast and the signature card, signature card for
Right
me,
here.
it was this, and this.
Okay.
I kind of gave it away, so you got some letters that are bigger than the others.
Yeah.
I was
And
like,
it
those are the
just felt
signals that we
weird,
look
too.
for.
But she came in today to cash this check.
Yeah, that was her. When
It
I
wasn't
asked
just
her,
to like verify if it was fake or not. It was to
both.
cash it.
It was to make sure that it was legit, and it was also. I said, "What are you looking to do today?"
Okay.
I said to cash it. I think I put verifying. Hold on. Yeah. So she said that she thought it was odd that she received it, but wanted us to verify it in order to cash.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank
But
you.
she 100% said she was going to cash it or wanted to cash it.
that's kind of where it was. So that's why I said, like, I did some calculations myself to see
All right,
what it was.
1 second.
Under Miranda versus Arizona, 384 U.S. 436, 1966, custodial interrogation requires advisement of rights before substantive questioning. The legal test is not whether handcuffs are on, but whether a reasonable person would feel free to leave. Ashley sat inside a bank with law enforcement directly across from her and no exit offered. That is custody, and Miranda was mandatory. Officer Thomas administered a full warning with yes or no confirmation on each individual right, all preserved on body camera. That recording now functions as the evidentiary backbone of any future suppression hearing. The teller identified forgery through 3 independent indicators: inconsistent fonts, a misplaced signature field, and a check number violating positive pay convention. In plain English, positive pay is a real-time electronic system where the issuing company registers every legitimate check it sends. Any discrepancy at presentment triggers automatic rejection by the receiving bank. Under Florida Statute Section 831.02, uttering a forged instrument is complete the moment a forged check is presented with knowledge of its fraudulent nature and intent to defraud. The funds do not need to clear, and the cash does not need to leave the drawer. Presentment plus knowledge plus intent equals a completed felony.
I gotta read you your rights first, so we can talk.
And I'm getting arrested.
You're not in handcuffs. But for us to talk as law enforcement, if we have a question about a crime, I have to read you your rights. All right? You have the right to remain silent. Do you understand?
Yes.
Anything you say may be used against you in court. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to talk to a lawyer before and during questioning. Do you understand?
Yes.
If you cannot afford a lawyer and want one will be provided for you before questioning without charge. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. So where did you work?
Nordstrom.
No. Where this check came from?
What it says on the paper. It was on Sand Lake, and it was with.
How long did you work at this company?
About a couple of years ago.
But how long did you work there?
A year before the pandemic.
So I've worked at places for just a few months, and I still remember where I worked.
No, I mean, I know I worked, but I'm
What's the
saying,
name?
like, it was call center. It was a call center job.
For?
OUC, CVS, and what was the gas company? They all was in one building.
What gas company?
A gas company in up north.
Who gave you the check?
It was mailed to
It
me.
was mailed to you with no other paperwork, right?
No other paperwork, sir.
Who was your direct supervisor?
My supervisor was Michael.
Michael what?
Well, I had 2 of them. One was Michael, and the other one was, I don't remember the other Michael's name, but one was a supervisor and the other one was a manager. I don't remember the manager's guy's name, because I didn't stick around long enough to, well, I understand I didn't stick around long enough, but you only meet the ones you kind of associate with.
And he was a manager.
Supervisor.
Can you have his phone number?
Just,
It's way too many numbers.
that's the number on the text app now. Because that's what they was using. And I left it in my text now number. I'm not text now, WhatsApp.
It's a WhatsApp number? Mm-hmm. Do you have texts with that person?
Not no more. I just have them when I try to call it.
You have no text through WhatsApp right now?
No. This text that I text is like my actual phone number.
Can I see?
This is my text now, not text now, my text messages. And
What did that one say? Something about a bank.
that's my cousin. This one is my cousin. The bank, they're gonna wire me money to my bank.
Is that something totally different? you're talking
Totally
about?
different.
So where's the WhatsApp?
This one. See, that's the number.
Can you open it?
And these are all the messages here.
And this is with Michael?
Mm-hmm.
Can I see that?
But I'm not gonna lie to you, we're in a relationship, well, was in a relationship So some of it, when he did call me babe, whatever. And then I just texted him. I was like, how did the company send a fake check? And he's like, he thought we cashed it weeks ago. And I was like, I didn't, because I didn't have time. I was working. Like, I'm literally telling you the 100% truth. Like, I have nothing to do with any fraud stuff. None
What's
of
your
that.
name? What's your name?
My name? Ashley. I can even dial the number for you. And I texted him today and I said, hey, they said that the check is fake. Then I was like, how did you? I was about to tell him, like, hey, you got to text, the checks and stuff like that. As of today, like, you see today's text message, I said, hey, they sent a check that's fake. Because he got one too, and other companies, like I told you, other employees, they got one. So I'm letting him know, like, hey, don't go through the same thing that I'm going through now. So I'm literally telling the truth, 100%. I literally have nothing to hide. I never been in this predicament before.
All right, Ashley, want to have a seat? My name is Carlos. Nice to meet you. What's your last name? Have a seat. Sit down. Relax.
This is even more stressful because I really don't deal with the law like that.
They read you your rights already? Okay.
Yes, sir.
You ever had your rights read to you before, or is it the first time?
This is the first time. That's why I
Okay.
said I never been arrested. I never
Okay.
had anything to do with no type of fraud stuff.
Okay.
Like, this never.
So what happened today? I know it seems like you probably already detailed it to them, but just so you can catch me up on game so I know what's going on.
Last month, I got a check by mail from the company that I used to work for.
Last month?
Yeah.
Okay, what was the name of the company?
It was, I don't remember the name. I just know it was a call center, but they had closed down right when the pandemic hit, and we was working from home, but then they kind of
Like this?
completely, I'm not gonna say destruct,
Okay.
but
How long did you work there?
a year,
A year.
6 months to a year before the pandemic came around.
Okay.
So,
And you don't remember the name of the company?
no, not even, I'm sorry. It's
That's
just,
fine.
I worked so many jobs after
Yeah.
that, just trying to stay afloat with
Yeah.
bills and everything.
Okay.
But
You got direct deposit from them, or did you get paid by check from them?
from them, I got direct deposit.
Direct
that was
deposit?
like a long time ago with an old bank. Like,
Okay, so you don't bank with that bank
I
anymore?
don't bank with Chase no more.
Okay, so when you work for them, you bank with Chase.
Yes.
You got direct deposit from them via Chase.
Yes.
Okay.
Then after I left from that job, I went and started working. I didn't go to McDonald's right away. I applied for McDonald's, but they said I don't have the qualification skills. So I went.
Really? Wow. Okay.
So I went to SeaWorld, got hired at SeaWorld, Universal, and
So who you bank with now?
additional finance.
Okay, so from Chase you went to additional finance, or
No, I went to like a different bank after that. I went to Wells Fargo.
why you keep moving banks?
Cause like,
I had Chase Bank since I was in high
I
school.
mean, it was like,
You know?
well, first I started with Bank America, and then they start talking about how Bank America is scamming people and stuff, and that's why I moved to Chase.
Okay. And then my understanding is the check that you came to cash today was from this employee that you used to work at that you don't remember the name.
No, I don't. I mean, yes, but I've worked at several jobs. I'm not the type of person to scam anybody. Like, I ain't never.
I don't listen. I don't think you're the type of person that's gonna scam anybody.
But I have had coworkers hit me up on Facebook.
Yeah.
And they was like, "Hey, do you remember the company we used to work for?" I was like, "Girl, I don't remember half the places I worked at." I was like, "Well, sure. What about it?" And they were like, "Oh, well, they sent me a check for $7,000." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's kudos for you." I mean, I don't really need it because I'm making ends meet with the 2 little jobs that I got, even though it's still a little struggle. Then I might have to pick up a 3rd job when summer ends. But other than that, like, I just been
work.
Making it work.
Living from paycheck to paycheck, basically.
Okay.
You know.
And when you work for the company that's on the check that you don't remember the name, who was the manager there? Who was your supervisor?
Michael. My supervisor was Michael.
And did you work directly for that company?
Yes.
Got kids? 2 kids?
Yeah.
How old are they?
7 and 8.
7 and 8. Where they at right now?
My friend's house, and I'm gonna go get them from her house because they was playing with her kids.
Okay. You dropped. Were you over there? You dropped them off and then came here, or?
No, we alternate. She's a single parent, I'm a single parent, so we kind of hand in hand best friends. Just one weekend she'll babysit, one weekend I'll babysit, just to
Okay.
give us some free time.
So let's talk about the check. What's the deal with the check? You said you got it in the mail?
I got it in the mail, just like everybody else that reached out to me on social media. Well, one girl called me through social media, and she was like,
Just bragging about the check?
pretty much. I guess she didn't have my direct phone number anymore. So she called me through social media, and she's like, "Hey, you remember the company we saw?" I was like, "Girl, I don't remember half the things I did
Yeah.
before the pandemic or even during the pandemic." And she was like, "Well, the company they sent me a check," and I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "For what?" And she was like, "Remember when we worked and they had shut down, all of this, that, and the third." I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Well, was it worth?" I was like, she was like, "The check was $7,800," and I was like, "Okay." I was like, like, "Hey, good for you" type vibe. That's what I was kind of telling her, and then she was like, "Yeah."
What friend is that?
Jessica.
Jessica. You got her phone number?
Yeah.
No. Okay, what's her last name?
I don't even remember her last name. I'm not even gonna lie.
You got her on social media? Can you pull it up on your social media?
But to be honest, I think she blocked me because I think she thought I felt jealous. No offense.
Blocked you?
I don't know because I went to go back to try to call her, and when I got mine, I couldn't find her. But
How long after she had got hers did you get yours?
3 weeks later,
3 weeks later?
so
Okay.
she got one. I want to say
When you worked for this company, did they owe you any money?
we were supposed to get paid one more check, or at least between 1 to 2 more checks.
1 to 2 more checks.
Because we did work from home. When they shut the office and stuff down, because
How much did you get paid when you were there?
$15 an hour,
$15 an hour. You work 40 hours a week.
and then we got paid every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. So about roughly how much was that?
Sometimes my checks would be at 9. Then sometimes my checks would be roughly around 8.
100. Okay.
And then sometimes my check would be like $9.90.
Okay. So it's fair to say if you were owed two months worth of money at $1,800 a month on the high end,
Without
still
taking
at-
out, without
we're
taking
still at
out
$3,600. So
Basically.
if you were owed money, it's
Yes,
probably not going to be 9,000.
that's exactly what I said when I tried to do my calculations.
Yeah, that don't add up.
It didn't add up. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let me see here. Like,
Did you call the company?
I tried. It was the number I had tried to call was no longer in service.
When did you try to call them?
4 days after I got the check.
Okay. And which was when? A month ago?
And then after that, I just been busy moving and working my jobs and trying to just stay afloat. I kind of was like, well, even with friends of mine, so I'm not gonna say friends. Let's just say
So you've been trying to
associates.
stay afloat.
Basically.
You've been working, hustling, and you got this $9,000 check a month ago. But
I
yeah, you
haven't
don't think let me go cash this check to help me out?
No, I've been doing it, now, like, you know what I mean? On my own with the
Kind of know what you mean.
just stretching out my paychecks, from here and there. So.
This is me as a reasonable person. If I'm owed some money and I'm stretching my paychecks out, living paycheck to paycheck, right? It's a reasonable person here now. And I get a check that's owed to me for $9,000. I'm cashing that baby right away. Right?
Right. But I mean, I didn't think nothing of it because I was kind of skeptical about cashing checks anyways. So I was like, no. And then I talked to my family members and, family members and other associates that got theirs. I was like, did that check was like legit? And it was like, yeah. And some never responded. I was like, okay,
So you're skeptical about the check?
I just kind of just pushed it to the side because I had a lot going on.
Why were you skeptical about the check?
Because,
Was it the way that it looked?
yeah.
Looking at this check, right, using everything that you pointed out to me, right, it's probably fair to say this is a fake check.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
That's why I didn't bother to go to my bank. I came directly to this bank and said, hey, can you guys verify you guys' check and let me know, like, hey, if it's legit, whatever, and go from there.
Okay. All right. I appreciate you for talking with me, but now I have a couple questions for you.
Watch what Ashley admits next. She acknowledges on camera that she recognized indicators of forgery before walking into that bank. That admission is voluntary, post-Miranda, and recorded. The financial cross-examination that follows is a textbook example of disciplined investigative technique using the suspect's own figures. $15 an hour, 40 hours a week, bi-weekly pay, and 2 months of unpaid wages caps out at roughly $3,600. A $9,000 check cannot be reconciled with any legitimate wage claim. Under Graham versus Connor, 490 U.S., 386, 1989, the reasonableness of officer conduct is evaluated from the officer's perspective at the moment of decision. By the time arrest was announced, 3 independent evidentiary pillars had been established. This case has another layer. Ashley describes Michael as overseas, romantically involved, and the source of an unsolicited check covering her expenses. That fact pattern matches a federally documented profile called a money mule. The FBI Internet Crime Complaint Center has tracked romance scam losses exceeding hundreds of millions of dollars annually, with intermediaries often unaware they are committing federal offenses. Florida's uttering statute does not distinguish between a knowing fraudster and a manipulated intermediary at the charging stage. Both profiles are captured by the same statute, and discretion lies with the prosecutor.
Okay. I just want you to be truthful with me at this point.
100%.
Hold on. Because you ain't been 100%. Yeah. And that's okay, because I got a quick memory. It happened, it's gone, I ain't even worried about it anymore, okay? But I am worried about you at this point. Because someone got you in here cashing a check that you know is fake. Okay, hold on, time out. No, listen.
I know it's fake when I looked at it by the mail, and that's why I kind of was like, I brushed it off. I was going to shred it myself, but like I said, other co-workers and friends and not family, but they're somewhat like family. Oh yeah, it's a legit check, cash it. You know, I got my money type of whatever.
But you and I both looked at this check, and you just told me that it was fake, pretty much.
Yes.
All right. I spoke to the teller, and he said you can't make a check, cash a check.
No, I didn't. I told her. I said I was really skeptical about this check that I got in the mail from a company.
And you just pointed out to me multiple different reasons and multiple different things about the check that you knew was fake. Why are you coming here and waste your time to do that?
Because, like I said, because of other employees that I used to work with.
Okay. You're trying to cover up for, but
I'm not covering up for nobody.
This is not going to go well for you. You are a person with no criminal history, with children who are waiting on you. Who are you talking to on the phone?
No, Michael. And this text me, I say, hey, the company that you said they used to work for, they sent the check. And I said, they said that the check.
Can I see what you wrote?
No problem. He said, didn't you cash the check? I said no. Because he asked me if I cashed the check. When I got it, I said no, because I was so busy working, whatever.
What number is this?
That's the WhatsApp number. That's how I communicate with him.
Is this the person who
works with the company? Well,
okay. Is this the person who sent you the check?
Yes, we both used to, because clearly at the bottom right there you can see when he said, I'll send a check for your expenses.
What does this person have you doing? Tell me the rundown.
This is Michael. Me and him both used to work with the company together. Not that company, but the call center. And he was telling me that he'll help me pay for my expenses because I was telling him that I was having little problems, you know, minor work that needed to be done on my vehicle. And he was like, okay, honey, don't worry, I got you. I'll send you a check by mail. You can cash it. And then like as of today, you can clearly see right here, like right here, when I had told him, I was like, hey, the check that you sent me, at the bottom. I was like, when I told him here, I was like, hey, the check that you got, and you said.
I don't see what you're saying.
No.
You're saying something that's not on the phone. So how do I'm cashing the check that you sent me? Right?
Yeah.
That you're saying you got a month ago by this company, now it's from this Michael guy.
Which we both used to work for the same
Who doesn't work at the company because I already talked to the company. You finally have a day off. Hi, what the hell? The check is not real. Hi, what do you mean? Well, you knew the check wasn't real because you explained it to me, which is why you've been holding on to it for a month. And this number is like an overseas phone number.
That's the reason why we had literally stopped. We really like, you know.
Have you ever seen this person in real life?
Yes, we used to work together.
How do you know that's the same person?
Because he knows my kid's name. He called months ago for one of my kids' birthday.
Okay. And then once you cash this check, what are we supposed to do with the funds?
It was supposed to take care of my expenses.
Expenses for what?
Whatever I needed around the house or my car needed to be repaired, but I got that done. So I'm literally telling you the truth. I have nothing to do with any fraud.
So this guy gave you a check to cover your expenses that you don't even know who this is. It can be anybody's name. It's anybody's name.
We used to work together at the call center.
Okay.
I'm not lying to you. Like I don't have nothing to lie about. Like all I want to right about now is like now I'm starting to feel a little uncomfortable. I just want to go home to my kids because like now I'm starting to be like.
Well, unfortunately, you're not going to go home to your kids right now.
Right?
Okay. Because you just tried to catch a picture.
I didn't try to catch anything. I literally came here and asked the lady, you can even go get her. I asked her to verify.
And then you told me the check from this company.
Yes.
Now you're telling me the check's from this guy that has some overseas phone number that you're saying is Michael, that you've never seen this person.
I have seen him before. We used to work
How do you
together.
know that's Michael that's texting you on WhatsApp?
Because he said he couldn't use his phone because he's overseas. And then after that, that's literally the reason why. I'm telling you the truth.
Okay.
Like, no lies, no none of that. Like, I literally have no intent of scamming anybody. I go to a night job later tonight. I have literally no type of anything. Like, I'm honestly telling you the truth, like, real deal. Like, I literally came here and asked the lady, can she verify this? Because I said, I don't want to take it to my bank because, like, I'm a little skeptical about my institution that I bank with. Because they...
Well, the issue was you knew the check was fake.
But I didn't even cash it, though. That's the thing. I asked the lady, can she verify? I said, hey, I literally, you can go and get her.
Okay.
Because I literally said, hey, can you please verify this? Because I said, I don't deal with checks. And I was like, I'm a little skeptical because a check came in the mail from a company that I used to work for years ago that closed down. And I was like, these numbers don't add up. And I was like, I didn't even want to go to my bank and cash it. I was like, I even told her, I called up here and I said, hey, I have a check by mail from you guys' bank. She said, you just have to bring the check in.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I didn't do nothing wrong. I didn't even say cash the check. I literally asked her to verify it and do whatever they need to do.
Okay. I'm just going to swear you in real quick just to verify what you told me is the truth, okay? So just raise your right hand. You solemnly swear affirm that the testimony you just gave in this case was the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, that's the whole truth. I'm so serious. Like, I've never been arrested before. I never had anything to do with anything. It's just like, it's really difficult for me to even try to process this. Because it's like, I never had to do any of this before.
All right, Ashley, stand up for us.
Officer Thomas receives a B+ for this interaction. Miranda was administered correctly. Rapport building produced a fuller voluntary statement, and the financial cross-examination was logic-based and disciplined. The grade is not higher because a mid-interview verbal oath is a non-standard procedure with no clear evidentiary grounding. Ashley receives a C+. She cooperated, voluntarily produced digital evidence, and had no prior criminal history, all mitigating factors. However, she acknowledged recognizing forgery indicators before presenting the check and held the instrument for approximately 1 month without contacting law enforcement. Under Florida Statute Section 831.02, those facts are sufficient to sustain the charge. Case status remains unknown at time of analysis. The lesson is direct. An unsolicited check from a former employer that no longer exists is a recognized money mule recruitment vector. If you suspect a check is fraudulent, contact law enforcement directly rather than walking into a bank to verify it. Presentment with prior knowledge of fraud is itself the completed offense. Reasonable minds may disagree on Ashley's grade, and the comments will reflect that debate. Share your reasoning below, and subscribe for more legal breakdowns of police body camera footage.